I'm going to go ahead and get this meeting started if everyone wants to. I know there's a couple people outside. They'll be in shortly. Yeah, it's about that time, I would say. Yes. We're going to get started. Thank you all for being here. Welcome to the November PSA meeting. I know there's a couple people outside. They'll be in just a second. It is our member spotlight evening. We had 3 members. One is unfortunately ill, the comedian. That would have been kind of funny, but we have 2 other amazing members that are going to share about what they've been working on, and we're spotlighting their talents. 2 extremely talented members that we're happy to have be part of the PSA. Before we get started, I just also want to welcome NoCal, our branch that stands for North Okaloosa. I totally came up with that. In Crestview, Shay and Chip are over there, and a couple of them have joined us virtually. Thank you guys for being with us.
Where are they? In a restaurant?
Yeah, they're at Eagle's Nest in Blackwater. That's where they meet, yeah, if you're familiar with Crestview, yeah. So I'll be monitoring the chat to see if you guys have any questions or feedback as we go through this. So we'll let our members talk, about themselves for a little bit and share their projects, and then we'll do a brief Q&A, or maybe a longer Q&A for you, Jesse, if you prefer. And then I don't have many other announcements. I'll talk a little bit at the end about our upcoming holiday party, but then we can just kind of mix and mingle afterwards. So see if anybody else has any updates to share. So the first member that I'm going to bring up is actually from our NoCal branch up in Crestview. Thank you for coming down. I feel that it's important to mention first and foremost, given that it's Veterans Day, that he is a veteran. So thank you for your service doubly, for talking to us today, but also for your military service. Philip Duda is a recipient of the Worldwide Silver Poetry Award, among many other accolades. He's not just a poet, but also a military veteran with 20 years of service. His knowledge spans many disciplines of science and other intellectual pursuits, and he strives to answer questions about what is, what can be, and what could be. His love for fishing, prospecting, traveling, meeting new people, and exploring flea markets and estate sales in search of unique and unusual items adds rich tapestry of experiences that he weaves into his poetry. He is an author, and from my understanding, looking to figure out how to bring his writings to the screen. So he's brought us a bunch of posters and things that you all are welcome to take, please, with you, and examples of his poetry. But Philip, if you want to come on down and share with us a little bit more about what you're working on. Thank you for being here.
This is the book cover everybody sees. The first book cover was like that. I was told that it's not so palatable with the way that people looked at things. So through the Truman Company at the time, which has defunct, which is no longer in existence, came up with this. And this is more palatable, and people loved it a lot more. Also, Miracle of the Northern Lights, okay? It's basically about 3 sick kids, and the parents don't know what to do. You're going to have Jim, which is the father of this one kid called Mark. Mark is sick, very, very sick. Going to have all of these people, all of these doctors trying to help. There is no way that they can help. He has been through everything. All these tests, all these different radiation and everything else. He's dying. And it's basically a heartwarming and inspirational story. And they embark on a separate journey. But at the same time, you're going to have this one old guy which will show up every so often. You never find out who he is until near the end of the very book. You can get the book at Lulu. You can get the book through the different places like Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and several other different places. I'm trying to get this book turned into an animated movie. I was told that this would be the best choice to begin with. I have been told that this book here would be a good product for Hollywood productions. And I already have a screenplay which has been done, but I wasn't quite 100% happy with it because of Truman, which has ghosted us completely. Now I'm working with another company which we paid to do a screenplay. And for anybody that wants to know, when you're going to have a screenplay done, you're talking about $5,000 or more.
Oh, yeah.
So you better be ready for that. You know, if you're going to go through a professional, company to do that. You're going to have the child, okay, from the heart of things. 3 kids sick and dying. They meet only in a dream. They are all looking for a legend, which Mark's father's friend had heard from his parents and grandparents going hundreds and possibly even thousands of years back about a valley up north. The valley up north is supposed to have had a miracle happen so far in the past that people have forgotten, but it's still a legend. Just a reminder. Yet, this grandparent has held a crystal. The crystal is called a rainbow crystal. And this rainbow crystal in itself does exist, as does the quartz rainbow crystal, opal, several other different kinds of crystals. They actually do exist if you're going to check it out. Now, coming back to the crystal, years and years and years past, there was a group of people which were kicked out of their countries, out of their areas. They were thrown into the wilderness of the north area to die. Who cares? We don't need them. We don't need the kids either. But yet, what happens is, in the beginning of the book, here they are all dying. And this old man, he's going to have a lantern, which is there. And they all look, and the old man says, "Follow me." Yet through trials and tribulation and an unusual situation where they go through a hollow that has been just created for them, through a mountain, they follow it into this area, and it brings them to this old valley that's excessively old. And there's huts and houses there. And for some reason, the northern lights seem to extend all the way down to the ground for these people, giving them hope. No matter how sick they were, even the kids, for some reason, they all actually get healed. Hundreds of years later, you're going to have some people get out of there and get into the normal people. And they start talking about this valley, but everybody, forget about that. It doesn't exist. So these people get disheartened. Yet, when you're going to have Mark and his father Jim hearing about this, it's the only hope. These 3 families, where you're going to have Mark, you're going to have this girl, which at one time was real good. And yet, her and her father were walking past this whole factory. The factory blows up. The father jumps on her daughter, and he gets burnt by these toxic chemicals. He eventually dies. But the girl keeps saying, "My dad, I talked to him at night." Breaks the heart of a mother. But yet, here they are. trying to find a way to get to this valley that they've heard of. You're going to have a boy, which is a farmer's boy. He got cut. Now he has blood poisoning. Nothing can help him. And they're all poor too. So you have these three families, which no way can they get to this valley. Yet what happens is that a mysterious person comes into play. And through all these trials and tribulations, and through legends, they only actually find a quilt. But it has pieces in it. And it came from an old chest, a mariner's chest, that had been handed down from generation to generation to generation. And when they find a way to open it up, there's all kinds of things. And there's a puzzle box in there, but it's no ordinary puzzle box. They have these keys and everything else in it that you have to either press this little thing to open up a portion of it. And there's several portions. When they finally get it put together, and they go and they find all these pieces to put on this massive quilt and put the puzzle box pieces around it, you're going to have a lantern, or just like a single lit candle that they put in the center. And next thing you know, you actually see a holograph start forming. And the actual holograph shows the valley in shimmers. So you go and you wonder, what's going on? And eventually they all get to the valley. But that's not just the end of it. Oh no. Because now there's other people in the valley. People from all walks of life. From the richest to the poorest, the dirt poorest. And yet you still have this old guy walking around talking with everybody. Nobody understands the language, but he does, along with the people of this village. They understand all these languages. And then they say, but look at all these people from different cultures. Look at all these people from the different religions and stuff. How can this be? It's the love of their own child to try to help them. Because all of these kids and other people that have limbs missing actually come to play. Even some of the older people, you're going to have limbs missing. They are struck with cancers. They are struck with being burnt real bad, shot real bad, and different things. But yet they all still have hope because of a legend that they heard in their own language that had been passed down from generation to generation. And yet this old guy, he's still there. And you're going to have these three kids. Mark never gets a crystal, but yet his gift is the most important. Now imagine a fountain in the middle of this village that's up north. Everyone's putting the crystals in. Mark only has a music box next to him. He turns the music box on. It's singing a tune. All the crystals are in there. Now all of a sudden Mark walks away because the only thing he had was a single tear that fell into this place. That was his most precious gift. He was willing to give himself up so that everybody else would be okay. It didn't matter to him. He walks back to Charlotte. And next thing you know, you're going to have all the colors. They start bubbling and boiling and go straight up into the sky. And you're going to have the northern lights so bright you can't even imagine. And next thing you know, the northern lights actually descend in like a field of colors that's actually within the snowflakes. Now the old pastor is ringing the bell, yelling and screaming. And look at everybody comes out during the middle of the night, during the cold, but it's not cold for everybody. It's a gentle, feeling type situation. And next thing you know, here's the 3 kids near the fountain. You're going to have Mark, which gave his special gift. You have the farmer's child, which is dying. He knows it. You have the girl, which is now in a wheelchair. And here they are by the fountain. And next thing you know, the old man comes and surrounds them and puts his hands around all 3 and says, it is time. Can you imagine all of a sudden the northern lights actually come down, swirling like a twister, and picks them up. And as it swirls and picks up these 3 kids into the heavens, you actually have it casting off smaller ones which go on everybody that's there, that's hurt, giving up hope and faith. And next thing you know, they're okay. But now the kids are ascended into the northern lights. Next thing you know, here's the parents and everybody else trying to console these 3 parents and grandparents and people that were there. Well, next thing you know, you go and you look up into the upper areas of the mountains. You see a beam of light come down. And next thing you know, it's impossible, but you're going to have the 3 kids and the old man. The kids are running back. Nothing's wrong with them anymore. They're perfectly healed. And next thing you know, you're going to have the situation where the old man's walking down. And you're going to see this one person, which is a pastor. He goes and he says, but who are you? Who are you? And the old man with tattered clothes looks at him. He says, you've always known who I am. So who was the old man? You get to know this before anybody else. He was the guardian of light. People want to call him their savior. People want to call him their deity. He is the guardian of light, hope, and faith. And that is the ending of the movie at that point. But then there was a second part that I am writing also of that, which will finish off that.
Wow. I want to do some questions and answers, so don't go anywhere because I have some questions. First of all, you know, we're the Production Services Association of Northwest Florida. We work on productions, you know, and obviously writing and storytelling is like step 1.
Right.
Help us understand where you're at, because you started talking about it at the beginning and I didn't catch all of it, where you're at with turning this book into
right
a
now,
script.
We have a screenplay, which is done. I have to review
You just don't love it.
Pardon?
You're just not, you don't care for that screenplay that much.
I have, the first screenplay, I was a little hesitant because it came from Truman Company that went defunct.
Okay.
Everything was set up for the 3rd of March this year for me to sign a contract with Roth Films, okay, from California. We had that area where they got wiped out by that fire.
Oh.
And can't get a hold of anybody. As far as I know, they all died or whatever. And the company just went defunct as far as I know. I've been told that, oh, Truman Company was a scam. We had spent thousands, but we had worked with them for several years. And everything worked out well. Okay, now royalties from all the books that I haven't seen, except maybe about a couple of bucks from one of the companies that actually did the original Miracle of the Northern Lights, which is Dorian's company. Other than that, who knows what's going on? I'm trying to find out.
Okay. Well, a few months back, I don't remember his name, I don't know, Kevin or Ron, if you guys remember, but Denise brought in a screenwriter that was our guest speaker that talked about how to sell screenplays
Right.
to turn them into films. So if you'd like, we could get with Denise and try to connect
Oh,
That
definitely.
would be a good person, I think, for you to connect with, because that's all this person does is just write
Yeah.
and send screenplays
Well,
to
that would be
different.
fantastic there.
Okay, all right. Well, please let us know what else we can do to help, and thank you for sharing
Oh,
It's quite a
it's like-
story.
Debbie, you have anything to say?
Not yet.
Muna has a question for you.
So I am originally from Finland, so this Northern Lights theme just like really resonated, and I enjoyed the story. It was really lovely, and I was just like wondering where you picture this being filmed. Like, have you thought about like a
Well,
place
you
where
already
you
have
like?
parts of it being filmed, you know, with Mark and his family, you know, going through the trials and tribulations. And you're going to have part of it in the United States, part of it in Finland, some border in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where you actually see the northern lights, where they're so close you can actually feel you can touch them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where
Because
everybody
you should
comes
like think about
together.
maybe like even internationally, this would be a story that
Oh, yeah.
you could sell like to like Norway, Iceland, Finland, something like that as well. So maybe think like internationally, not just like
Well, the
like
thing
because
is,
if you think about like
it would be international,
mm-hmm.
and that's my concept of things.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're talking about kids being sick, everybody has, you know, kids, whether it be grandkids or,
I'm an oncology parent myself, so my child is a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
So this whole storyline, like I just really enjoyed it. It was lovely.
so, you know, yeah. You know, internationally, it would go, you know, like hotcakes.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and have been informed by different people and everything that it would be as good as the Polar Express, Moana, several others. But Lion King, that it would be that big once it comes out. You know, depending upon if it's put together the correct way.
I really hope that it happens.
You know, and my books and my poetry is international too. That I can tell you for a fact. And this here, Mine's in a Basket, I am an artist. I drew that right there for the cover of the book. And I put stuff over here along with a poem that says, with the war and losing friends. You know,
Yeah,
especially-
so I was wondering if you would give me the honor of letting me read this poem out loud?
Yes,
Or would you like to
no,
read it?
You read it,
Okay.
but at the same time, if you take this cover, okay, this part, okay, and actually look at it, it says hero, vet, and then in very little letters, homeless.
Hmm.
And I've been told that there is so much in that picture that it is unbelievable. They said, you must have worked, and I said, well, it came from the heart.
Yeah,
Go for it.
okay. Unbounded words. To all those who have given of themselves selflessly, answering freedom's call, may all of us find peace beyond our wall of sorrow and tears. I've seen the wall of sorrow and tears, over here, over there. In my mind, I knew fear. I shed a tear over there and now here, of the friends whom I left over there, of sorrow and pain. Can't someone explain? Of the dreams that I have over here, for nightmares and fear I knew over there, are so real to me over here. Though years have gone by, I still hear the cry of my buddy's last words over there. To family and friends, though your days will be gray, I've fought for you all over there. To my children, I pray that I'll see you one day. For peace, it's the price we must pay. I've seen the wall of sorrow and tears over there, over here. Touch their names.
Thank you.
That's a good one. Thank you, both.
Yeah, I don't have a question, but you're a writer. Why don't you write the screenplay?
Because I do not understand how to write a screenplay.
Yeah.
Okay, to put it bluntly.
It's
Okay.
difficult.
When I saw the screenplay, it's like, oh, okay.
It's a different
It's like
art form.
a different format.
Sure.
Okay,
So there's a program called the Veterans Writing Project, this is through the Writers Guild Foundation in Los Angeles, but they do their meetings on Zoom. You have to send them a writing sample. And the last I checked, it doesn't have to be screenplay format, but what they do is they'll take your idea, you give them your premise. They'll assign you to a group of mentors, people that work in the industry. I mean, some of them write for Marvel, some of them write for primetime television shows. All you need is a DD-214. You have to show that you can write.
Oh, yeah.
You fill out an application. I was on the admissions committee for this before. So if it's something that you're interested in, that you want to take a period of a year and learn how to be a screenwriter or learn how to write for the screen, by the end of it, you should have a well-developed screenplay. That's the goal of the program.
Right.
And then they'll put you in a room, or a Zoom room, with industry professionals, you know, managers, agents, producers, and then you pitch your project. What you just spent a year writing, you have this opportunity to pitch it. If you're interested in it, I'll give you more information, but I think that you're so close to this material, and you're obviously very passionate about it. You've already pitched it very well today.
Thank you.
I think you should be the one to write it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, is like,
Let me read, okay. We have went through the Writers Guild.
Really?
He's had a Zoom meeting with a producer, but he was sick at the time that he had a meeting, so his pitch didn't go as well as this one here. So, and he has not yet heard back from them, and this has been a month. So I'm not looking that he will. But one of the people that is rewriting the screenplay for us now is part of that group.
Okay.
So we have been in touch with that group, and there's a friend of hers that she works with closely that is trying to help us out of a sticky situation that with Truman, because they're saying that there were scammers, and we're not real sure that that's what's going on, but he does animation. So he was actually talking about doing this in animation itself. So we're not real sure if we need to go that route. We're in a learning process right now. We're trying to figure out what steps we need to follow, where we need to go. But we have had a conversation with the Writers Guild. He's had a Zoom meeting, and like I said, he was sick at the time, so his pitch didn't go as good as he wanted it to.
But that was pitching the project, that wasn't for this program.
correct.
I will look into it. It's a
Yeah,
good program.
definitely.
Yeah.
And I normally have my wife with her email that I use a lot, well, 99% of the time. But then I have mine too, which is philipduda777@yahoo.com.
Okay.
You want me to give yours, hon?
Mine is duda.deborah@yahoo.
We have time for one more question, and from Crestview, Chip asked, what voice actors, do you have any idea of what voice actors you'd like to see in your you'd like to hear, I guess I should say, in your animated film? Have any voice actors come to mind?
I have, but some of them have recently passed, so
Oh, no.
I have to reevaluate. But yeah, I'm going to have like 4 or 5 different ones. And even like, you're going to have Arnie, okay, which would be good for one of the characters. You're going to have, what's that?
You're out there on your own with this one.
Oh, thank you,
We haven't, I mean,
really,
you haven't
really,
really discussed that We hadn't got in that discussion yet.
Oh,
so-
The Rock would be a good one,
Yeah,
definitely.
so,
Let's see, you're going to have some of the older lady actresses, which would be good, which you're going to actually see Disney's, movies and some of the others
Yeah.
like that. It's a matter of their taste, because I have been told when people have started to actually read the real book, okay, Miracle of the Northern Lights, a lot of the women, they actually have to have a towel, crying towel, and things like that, because in one part, you actually have Mark, he is in his room, looking out the window at a full moon with the snow slowly coming down. And he's praying to his God, his deity. His sister walks in and hears it. And she starts crying and closes his door very gently. But with what he has said from his heart and soul, it'll tear you up. And some of the other kids will do the same thing along with some of the parents.
Yeah.
Because some of the parents actually, Mark's father, Jim, has given up. And now he's outside the hospital because his son is dying. There's no way around it. And his friend, Tom, comes over and talks to him. Well, you have a situation happen where Jim and his wife are sleeping. Well, when they wake up, they put on their high shoes, and dang, one house shoe on hers is wet, and there's a stone inside. The father puts on his, and there's a stone in the other side. It's like, this is weird. But what happens is that they bring the music box, and they bring the two crystals and put it on the mantle near the window where their son is. And next thing you know, the music box is actually turning, and you're going to have this heavenly type music. And next thing you know, you're going to have these crystals actually start glowing and burst into 1,000,000 colors of the rainbow and the Northern Lights, which goes through the whole hospital. Every little crack goes straight up, and you go and you see the Northern Lights just for a second burst over the whole thing. Yet everybody except Mark is okay.
Well, thank you again. And please, as a PSA member, please utilize the resources and network with the rest of the members that I know have the ability to, help you
You can
figure out
help
the
them.
next step. Appreciate you. I'm going to bring up our next member now that we're spotlighting, which is Jesse Foy, an award-winning director, screenwriter, and photographer based on Florida's Emerald Coast. He is a lifelong storyteller. He began creating films at a very young age and has since written and directed acclaimed shorts, including Birthday Cake in 2025, Today I Fell in Love in 2024, and Don't Run 2023. His films have received numerous accolades on the festival circuit. They're praised for their cinematic detail. This is true, very detail-oriented, and emotionally charged storytelling. Known for weaving deep-rooted personal drama into his work, Foy crafts stories that resonate powerfully with audiences. We're very proud to have him as a member. Please welcome Jesse Foy.
Thank you, guys. I like to make films so I don't have to speak. I can be behind a camera. But anyways, a lot of people have dreams to do all kinds of things in their life. They're drawn here and there. For me, since an early age, I only had one dream, one passion, one goal, and that was just to stand with a megaphone, have dozens of people in front of me, and direct. And so far, if that's where God was going to take me, there would be many beautiful things on the horizon. So growing up as early as 5 years old, I would make movies with Legos. I'd make stop motion Lego films, animated films. I'd pull my sister's Barbies and make films with those. And as I got older, I was very sheltered and homeschooled, so I would pull my family in to help me and just kind of learn how to do it on my own. I'd edit with just VHS tapes and stuff like that, and try to grow my craft because that was, again, my only passion. as I got older, I kind of went into the social media influencing thing and traveled around the world and kind of picked up photography and started to do that whole thing. I came here to one of these meetings back when I was a teenager, and I met Gail Morgan at the time, and she was like, "You get involved with all this stuff, you know, you're gonna, oh, I'm going." And she said, and at the time I wasn't ready, and she said, "You'll come back around." I was like, "We'll see." Then as the years progressed and I got into my later 20s, I did come back around, and I reached out to her because I wanted to do things a little more professionally rather than just run and gun with the camera in Bali or Hawaii or something. I wanted to do more narrative storytelling. So I reached out to her, and she directed me to Kevin Almodovar, and he's kind of been my father in filmmaking, has kind of led me in what to do, kind of told me how to, you know, create a narrative film that was a lot different than just run and gun in Hawaii with me and someone who I made up to be my actor. And I learned that filmmaking was really tough because I'm spending hours shot listing and working with other people who have to be aligned with my vision, but I also have to make a balance with what they see in the film project. And I realized it's not all about just me, it's about, you know, working with a collective of individuals who can make something happen, make something beautiful happen, and be aligned on the same page. Throughout my whole time learning to make short films, I had a goal of, in 5 years I wanted to make 10 short films. Then my ultimate goal was to make feature-length movies, you know, the ones you go to movie theaters to see. So I wanted to do 10 short films within 5 years. I made my first one with Kevin, and he really helped me out. I learned a lot. And then I continued to try and grow in my craft. And I've always been conflicted with moving out to LA because out there they have the biggest and the best and the brightest. And I'm like, I want to be out there. That's where I want to do things. I feel like I'm not going to grow out here. But I don't know if it's God or if it's the people, but something continues to keep me here. And I love this area, and I love this community. And even the first film that I shot with Kevin, it was called Today I Fell in Love, and someone in LA quoted me, a producer in LA said it'd be about $15,000 to make out there. We did it here for less than $5,000. So we were able to really, like, this area is great because people are excited when you're making a film, you know, in a small town. And so I'm passionate about doing things here, and I think there's a lot of ambitious, and creative, and maybe if you're me, delusional people who think you can do a lot of crazy things. And so about a year ago, I started a little production company with my friend Ian Lovin and Abraham Knapp, who we called it Wonder, and it was just us three guys, and we said, let's just make a short film every single month. Fast forward to like a year later, we were having 20 or 30 people from the community join us, and every month we were just making a short film and growing. And even though LA has kind of the best of the best for right now in my life, I'm here, and I realize that I know out there they say it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And they say that in regards of who can bring you, who's at the top, who's the next level person you can get with. But for me, I look at that as it's about who you know, who is ambitious and creative and driven, people who aren't above your level, but even at your level or below creatively, who can help you and who are excited to spend till 4 a.m. at night working on projects and films. And I've really grown a lot with them. And I ended up making, in the past 2 years, I've made 7 short films instead of, I'm really close to 10. So I'm fast forwarding, my future is coming quicker than I even expected. And it's all just because I'm with people who are ambitious and a little delusional and helping me grow in this area. And so right now, even though the industry, I don't know what it's doing out in LA, it looks a mess, I think it's the best time, more than ever, to be an independent filmmaker, and I love what I'm doing. And in fact, 2 days from now on Friday, we're going to shoot the biggest short film yet, which will be 4 nights, and it'll be the biggest production I've done, and I will be standing in a crowd of about 70 people on set, biggest set yet, with a megaphone in my hand, yelling action. And so, again, a little ambition, a lot of delusion can get you far, I believe, and there's so many beautiful things on the horizon. So that's all I gotta say.
So I know we have a short film we're gonna screen of yours
Okay.
this evening. Should we do some questions first? before we do that?
If anyone has questions.
I have questions, yeah.
Okay.
So what have you learned, as you've made all these different short films, and you just answered part of the question, which is the biggest one you're about to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what have you learned along the way that you could tell people going on that path, like, now that you've done 7 or however many you've done of them, that you either like lessons that you've learned that you wouldn't repeat, or if I could go back knowing what I know now, what you would do differently?
I think a huge thing is just to work with people who are on the same page as you, because you can find people that aren't aligned, and it's so important to have people that are aligned with your vision and what you want, and also I think the biggest lesson is just being ready to pivot, because everything wrong that can happen will, and so you're always prepared for, like the film we shot a few months ago. 2 days before we shot at every location, we lost all our locations, and that was a 4-day shoot, and kind of had a budget going into that, and so we just had to immediately learn to pivot and change the plan. And so I think a big thing is to always just be prepared for the unprepared, because you never know what's going to happen, and everything will that can. So you always got to be ready. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Of those, you said you've done 7?
Yes, sir. 7
small
short.
films,
Yes, sir.
films.
Sure.
How long each? Like,
They range from 2 minutes to 15 to 20 minutes.
So in those 7 films, what was the hardest problem that you had to solve? Of any of those?
I think for me the hardest one was the locations changing 2 days before, because I mean we had probably 30 plus people coming together for 4 days in a row, and every location was locked. We had it prepped out. There's a lot of work.
What locations did you have locked, and then what did you lose, and what did you end up changing them to?
The location was we were shooting a lot of things in Hammock Bay, and it was with a developer who then ended up deciding he didn't want us to shoot
Like
on
a
his
house, or?
It was the location. There were a lot of areas in Hammock Bay. There were a lot of like dirt roads and things where they were still developing. And the builder ended up, Jay Odom is his name, ended up saying no. And so I don't like him anymore because of that. But we, no, it's okay. He just ended up saying no to us last minute. So we ended up finding Brandon, who's a part of the member here. He's not here tonight, but he has a lot of acreage because it was a film where there's a lot of forest and nature. He lives out in Defuniak Springs and told us we could go shoot there. So we pivoted, we figured out.
Did you have to change your script or story at all?
We actually didn't. We
It was
didn't.
an amazing location.
It was, and it ended up being better. I believe that,
Usually it
it
ends up being better.
it can be better. Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah, this is actually probably turned out better than it
Yeah, and so those are that was probably the hardest actual thing we've had to deal
What was
with.
the
so.
easiest thing you had to do?
The easiest thing, having Kevin there with me. Kevin, that's great. Like if he's over my shoulder whispering how I should do something, I'm taking
No,
his
it's okay, I
advice.
understand.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
Jesse, for young filmmakers that have this dream and this passion, you went from, you've always had this passion, but you were doing it at home with mom and dad and dolls and Legos and all that stuff. When you took that leap into doing it with crew and now having to do everything very structured because not a lot of people are playing, what would you say was the biggest surprise to you going from, hey, I'm just doing these cool little films at home, to, okay, now this is real?
Man, I think having to structure everything to where it's like, I'm sorry, I'm just word vomiting right now. I think when it's just myself and it's just running around, run and gun, I have the creative freedom to change on the spot. But when you're making like a narrative film, you're locked into what you have to do, and everyone has to be on board with that, and you can't just last minute change. Oh, let's just completely change this, because everything is set and scheduled. And so being someone growing up, just going out and traveling a lot, shooting travel videos and being behind a camera was so much easier, because I can just, in the edit, I throw it together and figure out how it works as I'm going. But on set, everything has to be prepped and planned. And also, like, I just hate shot listing. That's the worst. You have to like storyboard everything ahead of time, versus when I'm by myself, I just make the shots as I go. But storyboarding is not fun, and I hate it every time. So.
What's the most drastic change you had to make in the middle of a shoot? Did you ever have to like fire an actor?
No, we haven't had to do that.
Or replace, not fire, but like replace, like, oh, grandma, that grandma, she's not like, you gotta get a new grandma. Like,
We
fire her.
no, we have not had to push.
Did you fire her?
No, we haven't pushed anyone off set yet. We've had people that won't be coming back, but there's been honestly, Kevin, can you think of anything? I can't really.
Alana? not knowing how to drive stick?
Oh, we had, yeah.
That's a curveball.
Yes, we had a period piece, and it had to happen in like the 80s or 90s, and our main star had to drive stick.
You cast an actress and a character and scripted. And
We had it all cast.
Put her in the car and she can't drive.
Nope, she didn't know how to drive stick, so that was like, that added on a lot of time to figure out how she's such a good actor, because it was, not only was it a scene where she had to drive stick, she was emotionally had to cry, and she's like driving away from her father, who she just left, and she's crying, but she's also like trying to get in the truck's backing up on her, and it was a mess. So yeah, that was definitely, thank you, Kevin, for helping with that. No, what
Oh, my question was, do you already have an idea for the feature?
I do, yeah. I do have an idea, and I'm a little scared to write it because it's so much easier to just write 20 pages rather than like 90 or 120 pages. But I have it all kind of out, and it's a creature. It's a creature feature. It's about creatures, and I want to shoot it in Louisiana, out in the swamps and stuff. So, yeah, difficult work. Get ready, Kevin. Okay.
Can't help it.
Any other questions?
Good.
Hey, Chris, do you have anything?
No, I don't think so.
Just says cool.
Well, it looks like he's typing right now, maybe.
The bubble we already got.
Yes, Jess.
Where do you get your inspiration to keep creating, that 7, that 10, where are you finding these stories in your heart?
I think I find inspiration from, that's a good question. It's from, I think, just like deep personal things, not necessarily me, but like every short I do has to do with something. Like, for example, the one that just came out, Birthday Cake, had to do with a father and a son who like had a conflicted relationship and kind of like dealing with that. And Lily had to do with grief. The one we shot was still in post-production, and the one we're shooting in 2 days has to do, even though it's a horror short, the deeper underlying message is just shame and guilt and confessing like your sins and stuff like that. So for me, I think morality, biblical principles, and just like, I don't know, God and nature really gives me inspiration. So yeah.
Chip from NoCal said we have swamps in Florida.
That's true. We do have some swamps.
We have swamps in Northwest Florida.
All right. Well, if there's no other questions, tell us about what we're screening right now.
Oh, okay. Wistful Sentiments, correct? I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is one of the micro shorts that we got together. I told you we started that little production company called Wonder with me and my 2 friends. It turned out from just us 3 shooting films to like a group of friends and the community coming together and making something. This was something we shot back in February of this year. It's currently going through the festival circuit, so it's being accepted and awarded in a few different film festivals. It's very quick. It's just something that I came up with as an idea, and I said, let's make it. And again, it kind of has to do with, well, I guess you'll see what it has to do with. But it'll be released on Valentine's Day of 2026, because then it will be finished in the festival
I
circuit.
have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you go about, like, once you make a film and put it through the festival, how do you make its release date? Is that just from is that a year-to-date thing?
No, this just happens to be a year-to-date, but what you do when it comes to film festivals is you look at all the festivals you want to submit to, and then you realize when they're all finished, you'll release it a little bit after that, because festivals are kind of like prestigious, picky, and they don't want to show a film that's out in the world. So you hold it to yourself, you keep it private, you release it through festivals, and then we wait till the final one has selected and shown, and then we kind of make a date for then.
So this is kind of special. We get to see it tonight.
Yeah, because no one else sees it other than
Thank
festivals,
you, yay.
of course.
I want to turn up the light.
I finally remembered the song. You know, the one that always frustrated us because we just couldn't think of it. I can't wait to tell you. I actually have a lot of things to tell you. But some things are, well, maybe just for now, best you don't know. Please don't hate me. Did you think I'd forget? You know, you always say I'm bad at remembering things. And what if you're right? What if one day I do just stop remembering things that matter? It's those kinds of thoughts that still keep me up at night. Among all the other thoughts, of course.
Hey, this is Angie. Sorry I'm not around, but if you love me, you'll leave me a message. Okay, bye.
I miss you so much. You know what? I can't even remember that song anymore.
Wow.
Awesome.
You guys, thank you.
I love that shot on the balcony. That was like such a
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
That was a really special treat, yeah.
I just have a few things. I kind of hated her because it's been a while, it's been over a decade, but my brother-in-law took his life, and when he did, he had his voice was on the family answering machine, you know, so you call the house the weeks after,
No.
then you get the message, and it's Eric on the phone, it's like, oh, wow, you know, this is wild, you know, so that just took me back right there. Was there a reason why there was no titles? Did it just started?
Yeah,
Is that something
it's
deliberate? Everything in film is deliberate, by the way. Every single thing that you do as a director in making your film is interpreted as being a decision. Just going down the line. But there is a reason for, it doesn't have to be, your movie can start, but there is a reason for what we call, I don't know what you call it, pre-roll, or you call it the intro, or whatever, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the MGM lion roaring, the universal thing with the stars around the thing, and it's because they usually roll sound up to the level of 0 dB during that intro. So you should have the first 5 seconds of your thing should be the wonder and be like the THX thing, some kind of sound effect, and that sound effect at 0 dB. So when somebody plays your movie, it goes click, and they can adjust the volume in the house. I was a projectionist in college for like 5 years.
Okay.
And that's what that beat, that you see that old film where it goes 4, 3, 2, and on the 2, we're gonna go boop. And you knew, as a projectionist, you knew the sound was on, because you could hear it in the auditorium, boop. So you know, okay, so now everything's dialed in, and the movie's gonna start, and it's gonna have sound, you know, kind of thing.
Well, thank you.
So you avoid that, what we went through with, oh
Yes,
God, no
sir.
sound, turn it off,
Yes,
start
sir.
it again, all that stuff.
Thank
But
you.
that's what those lead-ins are for. The THX preview is not just fancy THX. It goes up and it goes up to 0 dB, so the projectionist can turn the sound in the theater.
Oh, what's your making movies when you have to hand crank the camera?
Well, thank you for that. That's true. I
No,
appreciate
Cal
that.
said it was really good. It started off one way and then led them another, and they were like, wow, so that was
Yeah,
their
little
feedback.
twist in there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
All right, awesome. Well, I only have a couple quick announcements before we wrap the more structured part of our meeting, which is that our holiday party, it's hard to believe, it's almost that time, is going to be Monday, December 8th. It's going to be at the Inn on Destin Harbor, which is a little boutique hotel on the harbor in Destin. They've offered us 25% off their room rate for anybody that wants to stay that's coming in from farther away. It'll be catered. I think we're going to ask for $10 a head to help offset that catering cost. And it's a really beautiful spot right on the harbor. So there's an inside cute lobby area with a bar. They'll have a bartender there. It'll be cash bar, and then an outside area right on the water if it's warm enough to go hang out there. So stay tuned.
December
What was
8th,
the place called?
The Inn on Destin Harbor.
The inn.
Monday.
And there'll be flyers and information coming out about that really soon. I know, I'll just mention, and if anyone else wants to mention, I know that like we're premiering one of the films we worked on November 22nd in Crestview at the Palooza up there, and that's the 45 Minutes film. Does anyone else have anything coming up in the next month that they want to share?
When's that screening?
The 22nd, Saturday, November 22nd.
In Crestview.
In Crestview, and that I produced and directed that. Josh acted in it, and that's Josh's true story of how his company Angel Force Protection started. So that's in Crestview at Eagles Nest, Blackwater at Eagles Nest. It's part of a whole big palooza that they do up there. That's where we're world premiering the film, and that already has gotten into a couple festivals. So that's pretty cool.
What time?
The screening itself will be like 8 p.m., but the event itself starts at like, I want to say 5 or 6. It's like a whole big, there's a bunch of stuff going on. The screening's just one part of the event. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, Amelia, and I, we recently started a production company called Gold Star Video.
Yeah.
Well, we all individually are artists, but we kind of just enjoy. We worked on a few projects together, and then we were like, why don't we work more together?
I really like that. I love it.
But we have been creating some short films, and we've got 2 in the can right now. We're working on our 3rd right now, and we will be premiering our first one, which is called Mr. Portrait, on December 11th at Distillery 98. So I'll be able to send out an invite to that. But the whole piece that we're going for is we really want to make it like an immersive experience. And so Mark is very in touch with his nostalgic side and has these TVs, old TVs. I'll say, sorry everybody, we have TVs not from now, and
I'm old.
yeah, we're gonna be putting those as you enter the venue, and they're gonna be actually playing different scenes from the film, because we believe that it's not just the end product that we come up with, but it's that 10 minutes of that car scene that you might have filmed, or someone just contemplating, our actor contemplating or something like that. It's all about the actual art and the craft of film. And so we want to make it an immersive experience. We're hopefully going to have an opportunity for people to take photos, your portrait. And the film itself, Mr. Portrait, Mark came up with the idea and pitched it to me, and I was just like, let's do it. But it's overall, the concept is there's a portrait photographer, a creative, and he is very meticulous man. Everything kind of his day goes the same way kind of every day, and there is a monotony to filmmaking and to photography and things like that. And the main purpose of the film is just really asking the question of, why do I create? What is there the perfect photo out there? And
and like the balance between like your, commercial work, getting paid to do things, and then the artist in you that sort of, you get so frustrated
right
with just like, okay, you gotta make, we all gotta make a living, right? But then that struggle.
There's the artist and the professional, right?
Yeah.
So the end of the film, kind of, not to give anything away, but something happens in his life, and he is renewed in his love of the craft. And so that's our film that they'll be showing. So it's a short film,
11. All right.
like 13 minutes. 10 minutes maybe,
Sure.
I think. So
Cool.
we'll have information on that. We'll have some drinks and popcorn and candy for everybody.
Reese's Pieces, Nerds,
His list is growing, so.
Brothers Originals.
Nice.
I like kid things, just I want popcorn and, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so that'll be a fun event. It's at Distillery 98 on December 11th, so come out.
Well, and as a member benefit, and our marketing committee's been working really hard to get ready to present some opportunities for members to promote their events. So we'll, be posting it on social media. So if you're a member and you have an event, we're gonna start to ask you to share that with us so that we can, post it and help promote. So, awesome. So we got a couple good ones coming up. All right, thank you. Well, we'll spend the rest of our time networking. Thank you, RJ, for all your hard work. Let me say goodbye to NoCal. Do they have any final notes or anything they would like to say? The Palooza. Oh, okay, so more information about Josh's Palooza. It's from 4 to 11. There's a DJ. There'll be an award-winning solo artist, a band, raffle, auction, lots of activities. Cool, thank you for that. Thank you, NoCal. Sorry for any, we'll keep working on, we did better this time, but we'll keep working on audio stuff. Okay, good. I'm glad. Thanks for joining us. And everyone else that joined us virtually. Thank you all. Have a great rest of the month.
Jesse, where can I see your other?
Are you gonna join us?
Yeah.